morning, I got the latest numbers from CDC that 76.4% of Americans now have a chronic disease. This is stunning. When my uncle was president, it was 11%. 1950, it was 3%. Today, it's 76.4%. 8 out of 10 of our kids cannot qualify for military service. This is a national security issue. When my uncle was president, we spent 0 on chronic disease. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion. It's the biggest cause, it's increasing. And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single payer, Obamacare, or the various ways to allocate the health dollars, they're all satanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country. Why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
I love it.
I don't like it when they put chemicals in the water that make our fighting forces gay.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Thank you for that. Everybody, we have a special episode tonight. Dee had some stuff to take care of tonight, but we got Scrap here. He's one of the main guys on the channel. Scrap, introduce yourself for those who might not know you yet.
I'm Scrap Joe. I have been around for some time. I am a purveyor of extended pontification upon things that I am quite perturbed about. I think it's my little tag is on this side, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah,
okay. Scrap Joe everywhere. You can find me.
Well, perfect. It's glad to do another show with you, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
But yes, no, it's gonna be a great show. Everyone, welcome to the Thursday edition of Sunset Rants. We catch you up to speed with everything you missed at work. Yeah, first time here, love you. If you've been here a few times, love you just as much, and we love to have you back. If you like what we do, please share what we do. It means a lot to get everything out there. You can see all our different channels for all our different creators, like Scrap here, up in the QR code. It should be on my side of this web. There, takes you to our website. You get to see everybody, see our fun merch, and allows you to join into our Discord. There's always a bunch of people there. So if you want to talk to us, reach out to us, that's the best spot to do it. If not, you'll be able to find me at AP2K. That's my handle for everything. On Instagram, it's AP2_K. But yeah, we do have a pretty interesting show tonight. So let's just jump into it. I like that. So this was coming from Fox. I wasn't able to get too much into this earlier today. But so RFK Jr. and top Dem clash during heated Senate hearing. This is about kids. Man, those guys' eyes are so beady. It's like a freaking little demon. Um, so Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. got in a heated debate with Senator Ron Wyden. During the hearing on Thursday. The exchange came as Kennedy was testifying before the Senate Finance Committee. Wyden accused Kennedy of putting children into harm's way. With his policies and argued Kennedy has shown no regrets about doing so. I'm just going to say one thing. This is the problem. They're just too into you're the devil. This is about kids being pushed into harm's way by reckless and repeated decisions, and to get scientists and doctors out of the way and allow conspiracy theories to dictate this country's health policy, Wyden said. That is the gaslight of gaslights. I don't see any evidence that you have any regrets about anything you've done or plans to change it. And my last comment is, I hope that you will, the American people, tell the American people how many preventable child deaths are acceptable sacrifice for enacting an agenda that I think is fundamentally cruel and defies common sense. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's what I said. This guy's a joke. Like, the fact that what he's saying, we'll get into this in a second. Do I get to reply? Kennedy said, Senator, you've sat in that chair for how long? 20, 25 years while the crime. You never asked the question why it's happening, and why is this happening? Today, for the first time in 20 years, we've learned that infant mortality has increased in our country. It's not because I came in here. It's because of what happened during the Biden administration and what we're going to end, he continued. Committee Chairman Mike Crapo interviewed, granting Wyden another chance to speak briefly. Through his microphone remains turned off. We're going to proceed, Crapo said. I gave Senator Wyden, as ranking member, some leeway there, but we're going to stick to the 5 minutes. Kennedy's testimony came one day after 1,000 current and former HHS employees signed a letter calling for his resignation. Yeah, because took their jobs.
He's cutting their funding because they're researching stuff that is all at the behest of big pharma. And this is the thing is, like he said, we just now found out that over all these years, like you heard that stat in the open, how like 8 out of 10 of our fighting age forces or fighting age men and are not eligible because of chronic disease of some kind. That's unreal. That's unreal. We can't, if tomorrow a draft happened, 8 out of 10 disqualified, you're basically just like, well, I guess this is what we got then. You know, back in the day, it was like you just signed up, you went, and you know, military has standards, and they put standards in, and we have standards for a reason. But when you have that kind of a rate, and I thought it'd be interesting to see if that's a stat that's coming from the armed services from DOD, you know, and not just a CDC report. That would be interesting to know. Oh, okay. So producers saying it is a righteous DOD stat. So if the DOD is saying we're turning away 8 out of 10 applicants in context to the world's largest volunteer military, we have a problem, Houston.
It's scary. It's super scary, especially when you know, what was it yesterday, 2 days ago? That on my Tuesday's episode, I was talking about how, you know, China has like 1 million people, right? And in their military, and now we don't even have like enough to even have an effective draft because everyone has like, I consider myself World War II or Vietnam by any means. Like those guys are just naturally just bigger and stronger, and I have my own stuff, right. And I know you have some stuff as well. You know, but we're kind of older, out of kind of phasing out of like military.
Well, I had 2 lungs collapse on me in November. I'm pretty well out of the fighting force. I mean, if it's in my backyard, I might pick you off from a tree stand, but other than being deer on a platter, I'm probably not much of a fighter at this point. but that's extenuating circumstances. We're talking about just normal people going about their lives,
Yeah.
and then getting physicals and checked out and going, oh, I have some chronic medical condition that I can't go into the first. You don't have this, you don't have that, like, or that's crazy to think. And chronic diseases to everything from like autoimmune, chronic migraines, like all of these things that we're finding out not just through anecdote, just from continued research that are dietary in many cases. Like our whole food system here, we allow all kinds of preservatives and chemicals that the rest of the world, regardless of what we think about Europe and other countries, they have been saying no to these chemicals for decades now.
Yeah.
Monsanto, no thank you. India, F you, Bill Gates, out. They want to preserve their heirloom crops from overseas. One of our friends in the chat, or not, I don't know if she's in here today, but in Discord, she was talking about being overseas with friends of hers, and her friends got celiac. These are things that we like 15, 20 years ago were like rare in my world, right? And now that's like every other person. But that chick said that when she went to Italy, she's like, I don't care if I've got some kind of grain allergy, blah, blah, blah. I'm in Italy. I'm eating pasta. Never had.
That doesn't exist.
It was never triggered. All of those things that trigger when you eat those high gluten processed Monsanto Franken grains, that stuff triggers like crazy body responses from people, and they don't have that when you go to overseas and you eat regular food, like normal food. We don't have normal food in the United States.
Yeah, no, and you're saying that, like, you're talking about the gluten. Like for me, like I'm allergic to gluten, and I always thought it was like one of those like retarded gay, like hippie, what is it, like hipster shit. They're like, oh yeah, no, I need gluten free because I'm cool. Like no, like if I eat too much bread or like a certain grain of alcohol, like my skin will glaze over. Like I'll look like a Krispy Kreme donut, like glazed Krispy Kreme, like my whole skin, and I'll have to shave just to scrape the skin off. Like I'm truly allergic to gluten.
But it's not necessarily the gluten; it's the glyphosate.
Yeah,
the glyphosate that they use and they put on the grains and stuff, it transfers into your system. And one of the big correlations between glyphosate and things like Alzheimer's and autism is
I know where you're going with. Yes, you're right.
So Alzheimer's and autism are neurological conditions, right? One of the main nutrients you need in your diet is silicon. Most people don't think about silicon. You couldn't just like put silicon into your body and take it straight or whatever. It would turn your insides to goop. It's very hygroscopic. It wants to, pull up water. But in your gut, it attaches to sugars, glucose. And that's how it gets through the blood-brain barrier and into your central nervous system is through glucose and sugars. Glyphosate, glucose, it's that GLY. Glyphosate attaches itself to the sugar, the same sugar receptors. That's how it kills weeds. It's the same mechanism, the way it kills weeds. And so in places where there's high glyphosate, you see high instances of Alzheimer's, dementia, and autism where they're spraying. And it's like, well, duh.
And isn't it like the whole thing with the glyphosate or glycerine, whatever it is? It's like there's a causality with like that. I was watching this documentary like a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking like, oh, I can't believe it's butter. What's margarine? Because like you need certain proteins and certain fats and stuff, and it goes to your brain. But you'll see like people
margarine's plastic.
Yeah, and you'll see like the neural brain matter, and someone who's a vegan and someone who will either do that or like the margarine or just a normal meat eater. And the people who are either vegans who don't eat the meat and people who will do like, these crazy garbage foods, if you would, like they'll be more susceptible to like these like neural brain disorders, like whether it be the like autism, you can, I believe, this is me, I'm not saying it is, but you can grow into it, as a child, like sugars, all this crap, as 90s kids, you can agree with me. You see all these fucking weirdo millennials now. But no, you pregnancy on top of that. But then you see like these older folks who like want to like, oh, I don't want butter because it's fat. Margarine's delicious. Don't get me wrong. French bread, little thing. I will indulge myself, every like 2 years on like 2 or 3 of those slices because like we just don't carry margarine.
It's no different than greasing a pan with some Crisco. Good enough for a diesel engine. Good enough for my bacon. For my baked
The
goods.
funny part is you're right.
But not to get too far off of RFK, but he's trying to bring things back to statistical analysis, get rid of this fat, this pork, and these conflicts of interest within the CDC. He's been fighting these big corporations for a long time when it comes to either pollution
To write
or any of this other
the
stuff.
order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based. We were lied to about everything. We were lied to about.
Yep, right there. So it's just one of those things. Yeah, I know. I said butter, bacon. No, I didn't mean that. I see that in the chat. I meant baked goods. But anyway, RFK hasn't even been in office that long. How can any of his policies be testable in this current time? Like they're just coming after him because all he's done is make some changes, and there's been no time to study what the effects of those changes. It's stupid. And he's one of the most ripped, healthy individuals you'll ever see, regardless of his vocal deficiencies.
Yeah.
But,
and so
he's a Chad.
Yeah, I've told you before, like, like I kind of grew up with like the Kennedys and the Clintons, all this, like back in the 90s. Like the guy, he's always had it. And, it's just it's a neural thing. It's not like he's retarded. It's not a voice box thing. It's just a spasm. And the guy is ripped. Like this guy is strong as fuck. And he's always been healthy. He's always been on top of this. And I don't think that he would have so much pushback if not that he was on the current administration.
What's Brian pulling up here from Vigilant Fox? RFK Jr. walked into Congress and took down his biggest critics in one fell swoop. Yeah, you heard that open. Says, Elizabeth Warren's over here. She erupted over Kennedy taking COVID vaccines away, only to have her $855,000 in pharma bucks exposed. Bro.
I saw that earlier.
Dude, he blurted out that nearly every politician is taking pharma dollars as if that somehow excused Warren himself and his colleagues. This is one of those head-scratching moments that leave you wondering, did you really just say that? Before CNN starts spinning this headline, all these clips that you wanted to see. Yeah, Vigilant Fox always has a really good threads with clips that are just sometimes, especially when it's guys like Kennedy or even the other Senator Kennedy, that's a hoot. Whenever those guys get on it, they're absolute just monsters. You don't want to get in a room with them and be at the other end of what they've got to dish out. They stand on stuff, and they'll turn you upside down, spank you, flip you back the other way, and spank you with the other hand. Like, it's crazy what these guys are able to do. And I'm glad that someone like RFK Jr. is in there who has the experience, not just in Washington and knows these people, but has the experience in fighting big corporate entities that want to just make money no matter how at the expense of everybody.
These people don't care. Like, here's the thing. They're all paid off. And this is the thing. Like, and these people have the gall, if you will. They have the gall to where they want to challenge them. Like, these people, like this guy is, what is he, like 70 some odd? Say early 70s, mid 70s, right around there. This guy's in better shape than most 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds. Fantastic. And he's always been healthy. And he's always been on this since like the 70s, like it's when he started doing like all his like natural, like, for the planet stuff. But kind of digressing past that, so I don't detract. But you have these people who are just lazy bones, people who just put their entire faith into big government, which is essentially what, the left has been since like, like mid 18 somethings. And that's what they've always done. And so now you have these people going, they're bought off, just like you said, by big pharma. What was it? Bernie Sanders, who's like all like everything should be shared, everything like, for the people. Certain aspects of what he says, I can agree to everything. I can agree to what he says.
Yeah. Good.
But he got what, like $1 million from pharma, and Elizabeth Warren got shy of $1 million. These people are paid off. They're completely out of shape. And then look, Elizabeth Warren ran. I've said this with Dee before, and then one time with AK. You'll see like who runs for election, and they're a wolf in sheep's clothing. Excuse me.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Eye Patch McCain, perfect example. Comes in strutting around like this big patriot, all about the troops and accountability and everybody. And we just signed him up. We're like, cool, you're drafted, bro. Go in there. And then he turns right around, does all the same things that people like Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren do, and just starts screwing up and spitting in our face. And if these people really cared about the troops and all of that, they would care about the health of the overall general population, because that's where we get them. Which brings us, I think, to our next segment on the National Guard deployment. If we're going to talk about the military, let's talk about the National Guard deployment. Let's see what they're up against.
Oh, this one is ABC News, right?
Yep.
All right. So let me see. All right. So this is kind of pulling up from what we had spoke about the other day. So DC Attorney General sues to end federal National Guard deployment. So Washington, D.C. Attorney General Brian L. Schwab filed a lawsuit on Thursday to end the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops to the city. We talked about this with that, I forgot the name of it, but it'll come up in this article, calling it unlawful military occupation. Nearly 2,300 troops from 7 states, 7 states, have been stationed in the district since August 11th. Also, before I continue, what was it? 87% of the crime has been lowered since they've been there?
Yeah.
One of the highest murder and crime rates in the world.
Yeah, well, would you be out doing crime if there were feds crawling all over your town, like actively looking?
I can see where you're going with this, but I know where you're going. But
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do long term, but like when you let your city go, what else?
And it's the capital, which is the worst part. I want to keep reading this, but I know where you're getting into this. Yeah. But kind of putting the wedge into it, it's people are still fucking stupid, and they still will do it thinking that they're too hot. But let's see. Violates the local autonomy of the Home Rule Act beyond President's authority. Oh, sorry. Nearly 2,300 troops for 7 states, national districts since August 11th. The move, Schwab says, goes beyond the president's authority and violates local autonomy under the Home Rule Act. There's something to be said about that, but you're playing in the gray area of this. But I know you have a lot to say, but because you know this stuff very well. But for those, this is kind of a lot of people don't know too much of this. So let me just read a couple bit more, because I know you got some good stuff.
Go ahead.
The lawsuit argues the troops were placed under Defense Department command and later deputized by U.S. Marshal Service to perform law enforcement, which Schwab's office is in violation of the foundational prohibition of military involvement in local law. There's the gray area in this. By law, the president's emergency deployment can last only 30 days unless extended by Congress, meaning the surge is set to expire September 10th.
Yeah, so what's he doing following a lawsuit? He's still got, this is the 4th as of this recording in this live stream. You got 6 days. He's got 6 days and you could file a lawsuit. Bro.
I don't know. I know you're always you're running your show and all the stuff on the back. I don't know how much you watch this show when me and Dee are running, but I've said this before. I feel like these people are just making themselves known. This is all theater. This is all political theater. Do I believe that they truly don't want don't like this administration? Absolutely, I do, because it goes against their paychecks, like behind back doors. Do I think they're all friends and everything, and they send us memes and stuff? Absolutely. But here's the fact of the matter is, if you're in the capital of the most powerful place in the entire world, the capital, which is also, I know it's a district, but for argument reasons, it's also the smallest place in our nation. Can I get away with that? As far as that, but these people, they'll do anything, and they'll do anything so they can put themselves out to be known. This is my opinion, at least, what I'm thinking. Tinfoil hat on, put themselves out. At the beginning, because we're about to, what is it? We're 9 months in from the 4 years, and they're doing it so that way they'll be heard and they'll be seen, and then that way they can have something. So in history, they can find themselves in a history book.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog and pony show. I'm with you.
Yeah, and so if you have per capita, the highest crime rate, murder, arguably in the world, which is kind of weird to even acknowledge because it's our capital. There's different arguments to rearrange into this, but it's like, why the fuck would you not do it or do something? But all these people on Capitol Hill, they live in their fucking rich houses,
and they're not even in the capital.
Yeah,
most of them live over in Virginia, Jersey, they live over in Maryland. They live outside of the capital. They rule from afar. They do what they've always done is, when Congress has certain powers, they go, yeah, we don't really want to mess with that. So let's set up a third party that can do this for us. So I agree that DC as a city should have some semblance of a government for itself, because DC is the place where we send our representatives to go argue on our behalf.
You get the nuance on which I'm saying of
theory, right? In theory, we send them to DC to argue on our behalf. They are, by constitutional standards, the top authority over Washington, D.C. It's not like they just reside there and Mayor Bowser gets to run the whole rest of the town without any oversight, like how some other, like you have your governors and your mayors in other states. DC is just a city that has yes, they have elections and they do things like that, but Congress's responsibility, one of them, is Washington, D.C. as a town. And so what they've done is they've offset it, and they're like, okay, we're going to set this up over here, and then they forget about it. And they don't do anything to actually make sure that that town is running the way the people that live there, people live there aren't really being represented very well. Or
none of these people on Capitol Hill, none of these people on Capitol Hill care about the constituents. They live in other states, and they're making a good amount of money, as far as salary, not on the back end of stuff that,
This is one of the arguments for why some people have said, well, give DC a representative and 2 senators or a senator, right? This is where those arguments go. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying these are the kinds of things what come up when people say give DC representation in Congress, but it's like Congress is already the top authority for DC, and there's no reason to necessarily. And really, if you're going to put anybody in power in DC to represent DC, you should be, electing a mayor that's going to go stand on Capitol Hill and go down there and say, hey, I need this, 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 and this for DC, so that way we can keep it under control and all cleaned up and everything. So this is why the president then has to step in, because Congress hasn't. Congress is, again, in dereliction of their duties as duly elected representatives of the people of this country, especially in DC, that they may not be elected by people of DC, but they still technically represent them in some way, shape, or form. And they're not doing their job. Crime is rampant. What do you think? That's a national security hazard.
If it's the capital, this is the
right.
You could argue as far as the headquarters of different spots and stuff, but this is it. So kind of going off of what you're saying is people doing the argument oh, it should be in DC. I think that's the exact reason why they don't. It's because as a representation of a populace. It's just too small with too much. It's the lobbyists, it's the power, it's the money. It corrupts. And these people, bear with me on this one. These people are the last people of kind of anything that are going to be representing like constituents that they don't know or they don't have an idea. Because I don't want to go into like, oh, they're boomers, because that's like the fun thing for millennials to say. But no, these are boomers. They're not social media savvy. They don't know like the street life, or not like gangster street life, but they don't know what it's like. They've been sitting here for so long. Did you know that 35 states have congressmen that have been there for over 36 years?
Yeah, it's because
because
the constituents don't know.
They don't know better. They just see Republican or they see Democrat, and that's
this is the result of apathy in a country that has done well. We had a golden age, golden era, and then there's enough people who have done well for themselves. I've said my life's good. I like the way that guy talks. He sounds right. I'm going to just vote for him and I'm going to go about my business. Now we're in a position with this culture war stuff where the divisions, the lines have been drawn very, very stark, and people are being forced. You can no longer sit in one side or the other. And if you do, eventually it'll catch up with you one way or another. So now people are having to pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, this is what happens. You end up with crime in your streets. You end up with people with conflicts of interest that are in positions of power. You get a self-licking ice cream cone. It's all of those things. You can come up with all the euphemisms you want.
No, you're 100% right. And no, you're 100% right. Like you and I, we're about the same age. Like we're the last of the streetlight kids, if you would. We are the last generation of streetlight kids. Like, we're not like I was born in '89, so like the internet was So the internet was created when I was 7 years old. I had a cell phone when I was X amount of. The internet was not the same for anyone watching who's in their 20s. Like it's not anything like this. But you have these people, the guilty white racists because they grew up in a different time. Let's see. I claim sponsorship of this. Hell yeah. So you have this, but this what I'm trying to say is the way the internet now is, people are being more aware, and we can definitely agree, kind of, the reason our show is, like the company like that we are in is Rising Middle America. And look at the past, 8 years where the red is, where everything's changing. People are realizing what's going on. So these older people that have been here for 35 years, they have no idea what's going on in the streets. They just talk to their grandkids. They see stuff on like MSNBC, Fox, CNN, stuff like that. That's what they have to judge on because they're not in touch with the people. Now, two things going into this. I would say I'm not a fan of was it Beto O'Rourke? One thing I will fanboy over him is he was one of the main guys to put, I think you know where I'm going with this, is a couple of years ago, he went to put and file a bill to where, I always talk about this, was to put term limits. I think it was 2 7 years or 2 6 years or 3 6. It was right around there, but on how long you can stay there. Because once you're in there, these people are literally dying there. But because of the internet, these people, eventually I'm not knocking anyone for their age. I'm not knocking them for if they're Republican or if they're a Democrat or, whatever they might be. They're going to be phased out through time. Now, what I do like is the fact this new whole thing with the internet since 2016, as I do hate the hyper aggressiveness of people's political views to an extent. It's different when we grew up, but I do know once these people get phased out, and now you have people representing constituents because they know, like all this stuff, rather than these people, quote unquote, the boomers, because they don't know. I think this is when I think we are in the beginning of a golden era. Because you said yes, there was a golden era, but because now these people are going to start passing away. I'm not saying this in a good way because I don't want anyone to die, but it's life. I think this is when the real stuff in a couple of years is going to start happening, to where we're going to start getting back control as Americans.
Yep, we're going to go through a lot of hardship though.
We have.
And to kind of wrap this segment, my final thought on it is there's a lot of work that needs done, and it's going to be ugly, and these people are going to go kicking and screaming. And I don't care how long a person stays in office, so long as they're fit for office. And it doesn't, and personally, it doesn't matter how many term limits how limited the terms are for these people. If no one's paying attention, there's always going to be a new boss, out with the old boss, in with the new, same as the old.
Oh, you're right. And
It's just going to be that way.
10 seconds off of that. Here's the thing. That's a subjective. That's all subjective. Like you can go to Rand Paul and Ron Paul, just for the instance. Like I like certain, I know you don't like them, but you can certain things that they do. I like certain things that they do. I know you do not like at all, but they're probably the closest to,
Who do I like? Who do I not like?
I thought didn't you tell me a couple weeks ago that you hated, was it Ron Paul, whatever?
No. I like those guys. I like Rand.
I like them.
Rand and Massey and Ron and
But you see what I'm saying. What I'm saying.
But yeah, there's none of us. See, this is the thing is that lefties
Subjective,
don't.
what is good?
The thing the lefties can't understand is that we're not hard in the paint for any one thing.
Absolutely not.
It's not like, well, Trump won, so everything he does is gospel. No, we're definitely in here complaining about stuff on the regular. Like, get in the Discord, get the QR code, find the Discord, like all that stuff.
Please.
Come and listen, because sometimes we're in here just bagging on that guy. But
No, we do.
But we're reasonable about it. It's like, we voted for a lot of this. Some of the stuff we don't like the Epstein things. Some of it we understand is going to be ugly, and we're like, okay, well, we'll keep tabs on it. But that's why we have a system of checks and balances. If it gets too far, Trump knows that he was impeached twice, wasn't he? Right? Like they went through the impeach. He wasn't removed from office.
Allegedly.
Impeach him twice in the first round. He knows that they're capable, right?
No, he knows they're very capable. It's money and the power.
Let's just leave it with that. This stuff is gonna get ugly. It's gonna be a balance between dog and pony show, left hand, right hand, Kansas City shuffle. And Trump is doing what he can do. RFK is doing what he can do. And we're just going to have to sit here and watch make sure that our voices are known when they're not doing something right. Because if you noticed, Trump turned his tune on Big Pharma recently, right? Like saying, hey, I want to see the numbers. And I think that's RFK's doing.
Oh, 100%.
RFK is coming to him with I don't want to backtrack too much, but this is.
Trump's going to back him all day. They've known each other for
hard in and stuff. And dealing with those kinds of things is in lockstep with the promises he made during the campaign.
Yeah, and so I do. We'll go to the next one in a second. I want to keep following this. No, you're right, and I do believe that this is the beginning to a new. You say a culture war. I do think this is the beginning to a new end, as far the end to a new beginning, the beginning to a new end, however you want to word it. But I do believe that things are going to change and things are starting to become more obvious as people start seeing because of the access of certain stuff. But I feel like you and I can talk about this for hours, and we'll probably talk about it after the show. Which again, join us afterwards. Come to the Discord. Please hang out with us. You'll have a blast. It really is. But let's go into the next one because I don't want to take up too much time on this because we can talk for hours on that one. Hey, get a sus like what's it called? Soundboard on it. So 6. This is another one we could talk for hours, and this is actually reminds me a lot of Mexico when the female president won. But for those who do not know, I'll read this for you. So 6 candidates. So this is a big thing for Germany because I've said this before. Germany is fairly liberal, because of their history and stuff. But they've been shooting themselves in the foot. So what's going on is 6 candidates from Germany's right-wing AfD. What's AfD stand for?
It's an alternative for Deutschland.
Okay. Party died 13 days apart, lead up to a local election reports. Like Elon Musk, by the way, you might be in here. Elon Musk ran it through all his programs, and he said it's statistically implausible, if you would. So 4 candidates and 2 reserves from the far-right AfD political party in Germany have dropped dead within 13 days of each other, just before elections, according to reports. This is impossible.
Well, we know Mr. Brooks obviously wasn't German.
Yeah. Dude,
I'm saying there, right? Like
NWO, man. NWO.
The deep state should have ordered a German hitman instead of that little scrawny kid from middle of Pennsylvania. I'm just saying. They've got
I'm gonna make a really dark shitty joke after all this is said.
let's keep reading. Let's get
Yeah. The alternative Deutschland candidates were set to appear on ballots on North Rhine-Westphalia in September 14th. Officials said no foul play is currently suspected. See that, team? And any of their deaths.
We trust the media. We trust the German media. Yeah, real.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's actually New York Post reporting, but like they're getting it from somewhere. That's from the German authorities. I don't trust the German authorities on this.
I mean, I will trust. Like I will put it. Like I don't like the New York Times Post. I mean, it's the Post, so I trust them over the Times. But you know, when you're in that niche, you have people that you can talk to just to kind of explain it. Ralph Lange, 66, Wolfgang Klinger, 71, Stefan Bernadette, 59, Wolfgang Seitz, 59, all kicked the bucket. None of these people are within dying age of Europe's terms. The bucket within 2 weeks of each other. The European Conservative reported the healthiest people died. Wow. 2 reserve candidates also died over the same period. This is Mexico all over again. What was it? 18 people, 17 people, and the female, now she's back, the female president now is backing the cartel. German officials stated that 2 of the deaths were a result of natural causes. Oh, wow. Does that mean the other 11 were suicide back of the head? But have not commented on the cause of the others. Man, this wasn't a Hillary Clinton thing. The AfD was not expected to be competitive in the regional September elections, Europeans reported. However, the party made significant progress since the last state elections in 2022, climbing from 5.4% in the polls to 16.8% within North Rhine-Westphalia, the BBC reported. North Rhine-Westphalia has a population of 18 million. So that's a huge jump in numbers. I am reported 20,000 candidates will run for office in the cycle. The massive untimely deaths among the AfD candidates forced officials to reprint ballots several times and invalidate some mail-in ballots, according to the BBC. So if you guys do not know, too much what's going on, so I think everyone's kind of aware, like the whole Europe invasion. I'm just using this word, but you could use it for what it is, and I think it does strike right with this. It's not like they're aggressive. Fuck it. The invasion of all the Middle Eastern people. I have nothing against Muslims. I have nothing against this, but it's a cultural imbalance, and the whole world is, bring people in, cool, but when you have an overflow, and you have all these people, and they're changing everything, and Germany is kind of going through the same thing that England is going through, that we've all been seeing in the past couple.
In Ireland, I think
Ireland, especially
Scotland.
They've been going through it before it because they're just closer. And you have to understand. I don't know if you guys are German or have friends that are German or family that's German or have met a German, but unlike the English, they're not cucks. They're not little. They don't have weak backs, but the government does. And these guys stick up for themselves. But when enough is enough, and it's a big country and all things considered over there, but it's not that big considered over here.
The last 2 times a significant political uprising that turned into a massive war happened out of Germany, it was because people didn't take the Germans serious. is because the Germans had a growing sense of pride over various reasons. The first time, they just kind of had it because it was that Prussian chest beating and all of that, and they were just very imperial.
Oh yeah, no, they're European warlords, absolutely. For
I mean, the
Germany's
second
only
time,
like 250 years old, but before that, Germania and stuff like that.
right? Yep. But the second time around, it was it was the fact that the Weimar Republic was made was just humiliated after the First War, and liberal policies drove them into the ground. And so you had a guy like Hitler come up, and the people backing Hitler were psychopaths. Not that he wasn't; he was a tweaker and everything. But
are you talking the people like the constituents
Himmler.
of Hitler, or
I'm talking about
the people in
Himmler
power?
and the people, because Heinrich Himmler he was into a lot of the occultic, folkish, the crazy stuff, and they blamed an entire race of people at that point. What's happening now? What's happening now? And I'm not saying that the German people have the power to do this, because they've been run over and stamped down for decades now.
What's the word? Emanciated or not emanciated? That's what.
Emaciated?
Yeah, when you're basically like you're embarrassed and loss of power.
Yeah, they've been embarrassed. Their ability to retain to elect people that are going to represent the people has been completely stripped of Germany since the Second World War. We have imposed upon them a liberal government. I'm not saying they should have the Third Reich back, not by no means. What I'm saying is there has been no reasonable a way for the German people to come back to a regular semblance of like having representation. And so now you're creating this other thing where now it's like, honestly, like if something else happens in Germany, I won't be surprised. I won't necessarily endorse the violence that you're going to see, but I won't be surprised if it happens. And this AfD thing, it's just, they let them have just enough representation just to say, oh, we have a liberal first world Western democracy in Germany. We're progressive. We're past the all of the Nazi blah, 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 and all this stuff. But in reality, it's like, no, they don't have any of that. And to go back to what we were talking about with the article, with the election stuff, they've got almost 20% support now. And in ranked choice voting, there's two blocks that are going to pool together just to shut out the AfD. But what's going to happen is they're all going to get in deadlock. So nothing is really the thing that's being talked about now is there's not much is going to happen. It's just going to be, but the thing is, think of how things in the United States have happened within the power struggles. We've been deadlocked for like 8 years, right? We had Trump at first. He was run roughshod, and then Biden came in, and we had a growing representation in Middle America through some of the MAGA movement stuff and remnants of Tea Party, and so there was kind of like 8 years of just deadlock between COVID and Trump getting elected the second time, and now we're starting to see something move the other direction without the middle right getting out of hand in our country. Over there, I don't think they're going to be that polite, but eventually they're going to break deadlock. And
so you made a lot. No, I think you're right on this. And I'll kind of start from the beginning, from what you were talking about. Is like, I don't know if you're Polish like I am. Like I'm Polish in South America. I'm like, my grandparents, like they had tattoos. Like I grew up into that. And so, like Hitler is fuck Hitler, he's a piece of shit. Now, at the time, like people, there's no internet. Telephones are brand new. Nobody really knew. The Americans didn't even fucking know about like Treblinka. They didn't know about Auschwitz. They stumbled upon it. We didn't know about it until then. And it was just it was a power pull because of Russia and that. Now, that being said, if there is a power thing, you were going like, Germany's kind of like tail between their legs because of their past, and they're embarrassed because it's like, it's we could say, in the current time of everything, going almost like some Persian shit ancient time ago, but it is in new world events, like, one of the worst things to happen. I would say the Maoism is probably worse, but this is like,
Oh yeah, communism
this is a
outshines
global
the
thing.
Nazis
Yeah.
by factors.
So here's the thing though, Germany has always been, Aryan. And I'm not saying Aryan like, oh, Aryan Nazis, Aryan gangs and stuff like that. No, it's like,
Germanic,
they're like 6
white,
foot. Yeah,
whatever.
it's just, that's it. But when you have all of this coming in and you're changing the culture that's been around for 1,000 years,
and a culture doesn't have the racial thing is just one of those like easy.
Nobody hates someone if you're brown. Nobody hates someone if you're religion. But when you're changing the standards and your government is enforcing something that goes against where you're born and raised, or this is what.
Well, when you're religion, because with religion comes culture, right? Your culture is going to be influenced.
Coinciding. I can say it does coincide. It does coincide.
It does coincide. I don't want to, skip over that, because that's why the West is always couched with Judeo-Christian, right? And we say Judeo-Christian because Christians have a shared history with Jewish people, right? We had a split there when Jesus came around, and look at since then it's been history. But we both recognize moral standards from the Old Testament, judicial means of dealing with certain things, at least the Ten Commandments as far as a moral standard.
I think the Ten Commandments are as far as moral. I'll keep letting you talk on this, but just the input. I think just as a basic human, as in current evolved society, not being savages, and I will say anyone who's like not in the Western world, as far as like the Middle East or stuff like that, completely, and that's fine, if you disagree with me, you don't like what I'm saying, but no, the Ten Commandments are just on morality, just a good, even if you're not Christian, just a good way to exist. Don't rape, don't kill, don't steal, don't worship a false god. And it wouldn't be a false god like God. It's just like people will put stuff, in the morality, like people would become like, especially with the left, they treat liberalism like a religion. And it's a new age like neo thing.
Oh yeah, the leftism shares as a shared history or lineage in. You don't even have to jump straight to Marx. I mean, it's easy to go from modern liberalism and the universities, and you can go through all kinds of different means and back through Marx. But when you get past Marx, you get to Hegel, and you go from Hegel farther back into Europe, you end up getting into these esoteric schools of thought that they all share these Gnostic beliefs, like that you can, like some people believe you can just manifest things with your thoughts. Some people believe that reality is a prison, and that they're very anti-materialist. Whereas
was it circulative train of thought?
Well, there's that. It's actually more the Hegelian stuff. It's called the dialectic, where they take it's thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So they take two opposing things that are mutually exclusive, and they synthesize them together. Right? It's like man and woman are different, but we're going to do this trans thing anyway.
So it's almost like the idea of what the Socratic method is, but instead of that, you're just fusing it.
Yeah, it's complete. It's a complete just disregard of Socratic method. You're not actually discerning truth. You're just creating your own truth.
Yeah.
Right. So most of it there. So, but the thing with the Islam stuff that's coming out of the Middle East, they're an Abrahamic religion. They have their own thing. They're actually diametrically opposed to leftism, but they coexist because they both hate the West. They both hate Judeo-Christian standards, and so.
I could say there's an argument to that, because they, like in Muslim, and I'm just putting Muslim as the spread out like in the Islam and stuff, but they do, at least they do recognize like Jesus is like the Messiah. Like in their book, they know, like in their book, they even said like Jesus went out to India, like in the old scripture.
They call him a prophet. He's not the prophet. He's not the Messiah. They deny him being a
son.
They do. That stuff. Islam.
No, I'm not talking Muslim. Not. I'm
Yeah,
saying.
Muslim. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think we're digressing a little bit.
Yeah, we are. But
Yeah, off this
I
a
think
little bit.
what I want to wrap up on this, but my train of thought is, it's. I think that they have their tails between their legs because of their history. But because of this, now hear me out on this one. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on this. I think because of this, I think that they're going to unite extra, and there's an irony behind this, with Poland, 100%. And
You think is this the time Poland invades Germany?
no, I think Germany is going to attach to Poland into a kind of thing so they can prevent the stuff. Because if you look at it, Poland's the only country in the entire world, or Europe, EU, that's actually like everything's a-okay because they're not letting it slide, and the rest of the world is like, oh no, it's fine. It's that slippery slope, and then once it's past a certain thing, it's done.
Yeah, Poland has an interesting history of, being proud to be themselves but not be assholes about it.
Yeah, powerful country in Europe.
They were an empire at one point. Until some medieval Russian/Ukrainians stabbed them in the back, and then they ended up in 2 world wars.
Then some stuff happened.
But they managed to stay their own country through all of that, which I'll give them kudos for. What you got, man?
All right, so we'll kind of speed run this. This has been actually some really good stuff that we've been talking about. But Texas legislature ends second special session marked by new political maps, slew of conservative wins. What does this mean? This is new to me. The Texas legislature galloped out its second overtime session with fresh inventory of GOP victories, including a new congressional map gerrymandered to maximize Republican representation, a host of socially conservative priorities that had long failed to reach the governor's desk, and unprecedented retribution level. This entire hold on, I gotta stop this right here. This entire shit was written by ChatGPT. This is literally written by ChatGPT.
If you've worked with AI long enough, you start to see the patterns. Like
Am I
in the
wrong?
Matrix, it's like I don't even see. I just read the code. I just read the code now.
I don't even have to. No, it's if I see 4 words with 3 syllables in one sentence on something that could be explained not like that. Yeah. The final adjournment. Watch now I'm going to read this. You'll see the final adjournment coming late Wednesday in the House and shortly after midnight in the Senate closed out a tense 6.5-week overtime legislation punctuated, there we go, by a 2-week walkout by Democratic lawmakers over GOP restricting that prompted Republicans to end the first special session early launch launch right into a second. By the way, that was just their vacation. So after the legislature resumed business, the GOP lawmakers quickly pushed through much of Governor Greg Abbott's agenda, sparking fiery debates over abortion, bathrooms, ivermectin, that ensured bitter bipartisan divisions taking root at the Capitol. Yeah. So this is the problem I have with this article. I'm going to read it all, but it's literally like writing a college thesis where it's like you write it has to be 1,000 and you write 700. So you put in fillers. I don't think in the history of the state, any Senate body has accomplished so much, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said before adjourning, joking that the passage of a landmark school voucher bill earlier this year had become almost an afterthought with the heap of major legislation passed months since. Final days of the session were partially marred for Republicans by the failure to strike deals on legislation reining in property taxes in Texas' booming hemp market, which was the initial impetus for returning to the Capitol following the year's regular legislative session.
Huh. All those Democrats being out of state, they come running back when it came down to tax revenue, and the state deciding they wanted a little chunk of that. Huh. Imagine that. Anyway, I know we got some friends that are out there in Texas, and they'll probably give us the what for on getting some of this wrong. However, we're gonna do our best to bang it up a little bit. So the backstory here is those Democrats that left the state over the gerrymandering stuff. We knew it was performative. They knew it was performative, and this article is calling it gerrymandering. But guess what? This was part of their normal legislative, duties to do the
Yeah.
redistricting. Ohio, where I'm at, this year we have to redraw our maps because the last time we did, we didn't get the supermajority required for a full 10 years for that map to remain. So we had to do it at a halfway mark. And so that's what we're doing. We're the only state union that actually has to do it, I believe. I could be wrong about Texas. I think they might be in a similar position. So to open up this article to lead with, well, they gerrymandered the whole thing and then they had a fight, then they fought about everything else, is kind of burying the lead. Like, what's the actual lead here? What's the actual story as far as them coming back?
It's is nothing burger.
Water's wet.
And it's not that we're reading this for you guys and like I'll report on nothing. It's just I think the most part is to see, like, you'll see things, you see all these words, and it's a nothing burger. And like you'll see on stuff, and it's like, oh, this is unprecedented, or this and that, from the right or from the left. No, there's no set rule to this. It just happens when it happens. When they want to do it, they'll do it. And you'll see states, just for this, and then they'll just like, it'll be like Democrat city, Democrat city, Democrat city, and they'll just run it like this. And the rest will be red, so blue. And that's how it works. So
here's the thing: it's just basically kind of a half-ass hit piece, and like this a little bit farther down from where you were reading says the GOP lawmakers left town having checked off nearly every major item on the governor's to-do list, including their biggest trophy, a new congressional map demanded by Trump to redesigned to hand the GOP up to 5 additional seats in the House in next year's midterms. Republicans pushed new lines through over intense opposition from Democrats who fled the state to deny the House a head count necessary to pass legislation. That's called cloture. Upon their return, they vowed to try and kill the plan in court by pressing their argument that the map would unconstitutionally suppress the vote of Texans of color. This is just one of those. We don't like the fact that democracy is working and representation is actually playing out. Oh no!
God, I hate that word. I hate that word so much.
I hate it when that happens. When people vote and they get represented at their government level. Like, don't you just hate that? I mean,
what was me?
Oh wait, that's how it's designed. My bad.
But that's the thing. They won't. It's kind of rules for thee, not for me thing. And then when it's played out, then because like medium or the power lies involved in it, that's where it is. And so the only thing I had to say is in a couple of years, these articles aren't going to exist or make that big of a hit because of what I was saying earlier about like, the age of stuff, like the people of age and people who are running. It's not. So do we have enough time right now, or should we go to?
I think we can run. Yeah, we're just driving on. Let's go.
Okay, so the last one. This one's going to be something not so much, but this one will be fun. So what do we got so far? So this one's coming from Live Science. Scientists taught an AI-powered robot dog how to play badminton against humans, and it was actually really good. This is actually kind of cool. Let's see. Scientists have trained a 4-legged robot to play badminton against a human opponent. That's actually pretty impressive. And it scuttles across the court to play rallies of up to 10 shots. Badminton is just tennis and pickleball with a little net behind the ball. For those who don't know,
they call it a birdie.
I'd say that's just the birdie. Yeah, that's just.
I think badminton's an old enough sport that I think most people know what it is. They've at least seen a racket here and there.
How many people know badminton? like I would definitely say there's people who've heard Batman, but they
That's
don't.
the producer, live correction. We believe that the technical term for the badminton birdie is shuttlecock. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I was told, and we're gonna roll with it.
Hopefully, like cock is just capital.
Well, badminton makes sense for an AI robotic thing to play because it's not a high speed, fast paced game all the time. It's
No.
kind of one of those lazy, you've got a wine cooler or a beer, like, something in one hand. You just kind of scoot across the court, you're back there just kind of like, yeah, it's cool. Whatever. You're not doing a whole lot. You're not doing a
No, I
whole
mean,
lot.
I think
It's fun. It's fun. I played it in school a little bit.
No, I think so. I think
Barbecues.
what's cool about this, here, hear me out on this one. So I think what's cool about this is, yes, like AI, like we both agree in the past 3 years, explosion. No, almost to a certain scary level, if you would, capabilities like shit. Like AI's even learned to code itself to lie to the admin, like on key searches. But like we're bipedal. It's fork. It's a quad. Was it quadped?
Yeah.
I know we're bipedal. Quadpedal. Yeah, I guess.
Quadruped.
Sure, why not? But if you have the tracking, and for those who have never seen Batman, the cock has that feather in the back, so you can hit it really hard and it'll shoot forward up really fast for about like 5 feet, and then it'll slow down and it'll go. So for the tracking, what it does is it's not doing an auto sense like what we would do to determine where it's going to land. It's just tracking completely. So then if it's doing all the stuff, all four legs to balance, because like for us, our brains are insane. But
Let's see if Brian can
all
pull
this
up
to
this
balance
video.
the weight, the temperature, and it's just doing that, and it can even hold the game. I think that's actually pretty fucking cool.
I want to see if Brian can pull this video up in one of the article links we've got in the notes here. It's pretty neat. If he's there to get us going, it kind of shows us how it works a little bit. Apparently, it works on. Yeah, it's the new control system designed by engineers has 2 cameras to allow the dog to track the shuttlecock's movements. Yep, that's the technical term. Move and predict trajectory. The quadruped has a multi-axis arm. We've all seen the Boston Dynamics dog with the freaking weird arm attached to the top, holding a racket to hit the shuttlecock. Camera collects and feeds data. The control system calculates how and when the shuttlecock will land and hits with full precision. That's kind of awesome the way it works. And
Cameras?
it uses what you're talking about is like reinforcement, right? It's got in the programming, there's something there that reinforces, when it does something right, when it doesn't do something right. This is the same thing when, like, if you're a gamer and you play games like Rocket League or any of these other shooters, people train bots, AI bots.
That's how I became professional. Like I played short stories. Like during quarantine, I was in a pro clan on COD, and we wanted a new hierarchy, if you would, and everyone knew I do not snipe. Did not snipe. I picked up the AX50 on Rust, and after we played 15 games, 16 game AX50, I was like, oh shit, I can do this, and I hate it. Like it's uncomfortable. So for 2 weeks straight, for 4 hours a day, I played against bots doing this, and like they trained me to be better. And it's kind of crazy the fact that this can just instantaneously learn. And because all things considered, like say for joints right here, right? The scrap look. So like we'll have delt, bicep, tricep, but then you have your ligaments and everything, all 100 different little tiny striations for everything. But like you could do everything. But this is just like almost XY access, like 2 XY's access on this, and they can compensate for that. With instant like computing, I think that's actually really fucking cool.
And when
What was that?
It was something on my end. I had a browser thing that popped up
Okay.
on there. So I know we were trying to see if we can pull that video up, but anyway, yeah, cool. Dog, Robo Dog playing badminton. They've got them with guns on their backs. Like, I don't know why they need to be playing badminton. Is this so that way they can like smack hand grenades back the other direction when they get thrown? Like,
That
they're
actually
just
kind
gonna
of
have
cool.
combat mitten dogs.
I
Running
know,
around. They
just
got a gun going out one side and they got a racket in the other.
like an auto battle perk where it's just like, oh, like frag.
What was
that? It's just like
what was the
pop. Throws a 2-pound frag out. It bounces back out.
What was the game in Halo with the ball? What'd they call it? What was that Halo? The game that people played?
Dude, I was professional in Halo 2. Like I was ranked number 4 in the entire world.
Oh, it's.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking.
But speaking of robots, we have captioned this, and I believe it's in the pocket. There we go. As you know, this is AI generated content that you get to caption, and the best caption wins, and I believe ends up on merchandise. So eventually we have a back catalog of these, and we sort through them and they end up on merch. So we got a couple of bots playing some b-ball, some double ball. Man, it's not. And there happens to be a phallic-shaped green object on the court. What?
I haven't catch that.
What?
These must be female.
This is not accurate. There's no net. There's no net. There's got to be the big black net around the court. It's all right. We'll let it slide this time. We need some. What do we got? It says Balls of Fury.
Mine was good.
Background music in here. What do we got? Future Snow Bunnies. New favorite NBA DP. Oh, it's the best part. What? The dildo? What's hard? Okay. Ooh. A lot of ranting tonight.
Hold on. Balls of Fury. Dude, I need to get a new computer so bad. So I'm running. So you want to know what I'm running? Why, like, AK got me a tablet, like, to run this. I'm still using a MacBook Pro 15.
I've got an old MacBook Pro under here. Thing still turns on and runs.
It turns on, but like, it doesn't.
Nothing. Well,
Can't watch YouTube.
No, like they're too old, and they deprecated the support. Everything.
There's nothing on it either. Like, I literally the only thing I have on it is an app for my keyboard, 8x8, and Discord, and it just crashes. There's nothing on it. Hey man, I want to say, this is fun, man. I like doing shows with you.
Yeah.
I want to do them again. It's nice to have like a conversation. Yeah, nothing wrong with like, D, but like.
I fill in a lot of gaps.
Oh, you're so subtle. For all the single ladies out here. My boy. You know what they call him? They call him the tuna can. We'll go deep, but
Taken.
pick up the malls. Senor
What do we
Pringles.
got? Just like the robots in the NBA, turns on and runs. Circuits versus skins. Like shirts versus skins. I don't know. It's a tough
I got
one.
one.
I don't know what to call this. There needs to be some.
I got one.
Somebody yelled, "Go hard in the paint," and the crowd took it literally. I don't know what that means. When Brittany Griner said she wanted more toys in the game, this isn't what she meant. 2 balls, 1 net. There it is. There it is. Look,
There it
guys, if you guys can't figure it out in chat, that's the winner. Hang
Nah,
on.
I'll take that one, but I want someone else that's not me to take it. No.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. I'm on YouTube, so I'm like only seeing half the stuff. I should have opened a Rumble on this.
It's just vastly over on YouTube right now. I don't even.
Damn, so everyone just comes to watch TV.
Why?
feels so-
The woman's not here. I don't want to listen to dudes talk about stuff.
I don't want to hear him talk about like cool raving stuff. No.
Or
I don't want to. I'm not making fun of people. Or
I am. I'm
Is it-
making people
no, I was just.
in good.
I'm just being butthurt.
Fuck you.
Just being butthurt.
I don't care. Look, there's a reason why. There's
I know what you're about to say.
a reason why ladies' night at the bar charges men to enter. Okay.
Which is wild because they drink for free, but the guys want to talk to the women, and the men will pay for the drinks.
And we're-
It's smart. So, let's see what
Well,
we got.
Well, you definitely ringered this one.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna.
Oh, Vashnik, you were so close. You typoed your last acronym. NBA just turned into NSFW. Just NSFW NBA is enough. We don't need the rest of it. NSFW NBA. That's a toss-up. 2 balls, 1 net, or NSFW NBA.
I don't know. Vash always wins, so I think he's the only one I'm gonna take it.
Or we could just put both captions on the same thing because
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do
Like,
a
it
split.
fits.
That one's good. Not a little Vash. I'm not gonna take away. humor.
WNBA. I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to, yeah.
Whatever.
Whoever came up with desegregation can, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're not. That's not it. I can't. The thing. All right, Ryan. All right, Tay. What are we gonna do about this? Do we need to put it up for a vote? Do we want to? Everyone's got to vote. Everyone's got to vote. We got to have it at least kind of fair. I mean, if we're gonna put the banana in the Banana Republic, we have to at least pretend like this is gonna be legit.
I did a good one. Yeah, that's fair. All right, so I won't vote. Vash, you don't vote. Yeah, so one for Future Snow Bunnies. New NBA. What did I write? Yeah. Future Snow Bunnies' new favorite NBA DP. Put 1 for NBA just found just turn into NSFW NBA. Yeah. So that would be Vash's.
There we go. I put him in there. We got him in. So 2 balls,
Oh.
1 net. Future Snow Bunnies, NSFW NBA. If you look,
I think 2 balls, 1 net. I think that was just perfect. I'm not even saying because it's me. I just thought of it before somebody else.
What do they call? What's the nickname for? Like they call football. It's a gridiron. What do they call it in basketball? Like
I don't know.
There's like the hardwood.
In the paint?
A hardwood in the paint.
I don't know, because
It's called the.
like
It's a
Vash
hard.
said it. That could be in the hardwood or in the paint, something like that. All right, so we'll just keep it. Vash wins again, I guess. I don't know.
I see a 2 and a 3, so we have a 1 for Future Snow Bunnies, 1 for NSFW NBA.
Guess we're making 2 shirts.
Our chat was not as lively tonight. I was disappointed. Y'all
I
have
thought
to keep it up.
I thought it was gonna rage, but again, we're not, beautiful ladies. So
Early it was. Early in the show it was. All right. We're calling it for Vash then.
whatever. Mine was better on
NSFW
Twitter.
NBA. Which one? Vash is just going too far. Just
I think he has an algorithm that he just puts it, scans it, and just runs it. Because I've seen the stuff he does, and he'll just go boom, 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 boom. Like he'll put like 17 things in like 30 seconds. See, look, there's no way. I mean, he's a witty guy, but
he's got so many variations. I don't know if I'd call them good ones, Vash, but you have a lot of them.
I'm telling you, he's probably chuckling behind the screen a little bit.
Oh, he's back here cutting up.
They're on to me.
He's a fun guy to hang out with.
Single cell organism. He's a fun guy. I want that T-shirt. All right, so yeah, we'll just get to Bash. But you got anything to close up on tonight? Like, I know we went pretty deep
No,
into
I
everything.
think it's it. This was great. Thanks for letting me come stand in for D and helping
I'm
you
glad-
out and whatnot.
Glad you came, man.
And for again, everybody, if you're new, go visit at the QR code riseofmiddleamerica.com to see all of our beautiful shiny faces. You can find links to all of our other content, and you can find a link to our merch store where you can buy t-shirts with fun AI generated meme content that is part of our, caption this segment. Hats and shirts and cups and mugs and on and on and on and on. And Tay, take us out.
Guys, team, thank you so much. No, it's always a pleasure to have you guys here. And Scrap, thank you, man. This was totally fun. Unexpected towards I didn't realize like the last minute, but I was glad. Love the show deeds. She's like my buddy. She's my partner in crime. But
Tell us hi next time.
when you're a Biddy step in or Brian, like it's always a pleasure, And we could talk for hours about so much stuff. But I think we probably will here in a second. Like he mentioned, we're gonna jump into our Discord. Okay, go to our site. I know you already kind of scroll everything. But if you like what we do, please. I know it's so cliche, but it truly is. Like what we do, share what we do. Like it helps us. We want to get out, and we do this for fun for you guys, and we want to, we want people to hear what we say, and we want people to hear what you think.
Get in the comments. Talk trash.
Yeah,
YouTube enables monetizing our haters.
I didn't realize that, but yeah.
The
So-
algorithm likes it when you put in the comments and you say dumb things, especially
Yeah.
when we respond back, because sometimes we do clap back.
No, but we love you guys, and I tell us every week, every day when I'm here. You're the first time here. If you're here for the 100th time to the show or like any other show that we do, thank you. We appreciate you. We really do, and glad to have you here. But with that being said, you can find me at AP2A for all my stuff. Scrap is the same thing for all his handles. Find us. I will be back on Tuesday at 9 Eastern. Hopefully, Dee will be back by then. Not we'll have another special guest, and we'll do that this weekend. There should be some interesting stuff. What I think. But till then, like I always say on Thursday, if you're too drunk to walk home, drive home in a car. That's an Uber. But I love you tons, and we'll talk to you then. Take care, guys.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.